so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh,
We have a squad today. Foul Territory Live. Jonesy, Kratz, Adley Rutchman joining us. Whit Merrifield coming soon. Sam Blum from The Athletic. Let's have a day. And poor AJ Pierzynski is playing golf with a bunch of celebs right now, Kratzy. So we'll give him the next few days off like we should, right?
Yeah, he needs it. He needs it. This is part of your role. I would consider you the bench coach. You got to have that relationship with your starters. So you got to make sure your guy is like taken care of. AJ, you've done so well. You're going to have a couple days off. You get more out of him when he comes back and right before he leaves. He's super energized. So you're doing a great job as a bench coach.
Thank you. And you know who my favorite person is right now anyway? This way. Adam Jones wearing the Foul Territory shirt. The shop just launched. Let's go.
Yeah, very nice, comfortable too.
Yeah, it's soft, right?
Yeah, it's all about materials these days. You know what I
Yes.
mean? It's all about materials. So if the material feels good on my body, I'll wear it. If it doesn't, I'll rip it off like Hulk Hogan. But this feels good, so I'll keep it on.
It's exactly what I said. It's perfectly stated. When we were going through this, trust me, the process was the shirt needs to be soft. It needs to be easy. It needs to not be one of those where it shrinks too much. It's perfect. So I'm with you. I appreciate that. FoulTerritoryShow.com.
Scott wants some shrinkage.
Minor shrinkage is acceptable. That's it. Okay? Softness approved. FoulTerritoryShop.com as well if you want to go straight to it. And lastly, before we jump into things, Jonesy, we were busy last night. Kratzy and me basically called a Yankee game on NYY News TV, a great YouTube channel, very supportive community, a bunch of Yankee fans in there. They had like 15,000 views on it or more.
Oh.
And the Yankees were center stage yesterday because you had Todd Frazier making his Yes Network debut. You had Kratzy talking all about the Yanks and his experiences, and fans absolutely loved him. And the comments, Kratzy, were hilarious. Remember, they were good. There was one guy who was like, "Man, being Babe Ruthless sucks. We're just not good since Ruth left."
You've won a lot of championships there. But, I mean, it's New York City. The expectation of winning, they're always going to say 27 championships. They won in 09. They reeled off to the end of the 90s. But if you my age, you got, I think, there's 6, 5, 6, something like that. That's a lot.
Since 96, right?
Right.
96.
But the thing is, the Red Sox got 4, and they got 1 in the new millennia or the new century. So if they don't care about all that, it's about what now. And the Red Sox can be like, well, we won, and we won in basketball, we won in this sport. So New York is pissed when it comes to sports. They're really pissed. They're like, because the Knicks might beat the Cavs, but they're gonna lose the next round to the Celtics or the Sixers.
They're not winning the chip.
They're not winning the chip. They're
No.
a good team too. They're a really good team, but just the other teams that's better, unfortunately.
Yeah, Jets,
New York,
Giants,
man.
not happening. The funniest thing I think,
Hell no.
Kratzy, did you realize? Forget looking back years past, season past, Jonesy. It would be like Aaron Hicks or IKF or Higashioka or really even somebody on towards the top of the lineup strikes out, and you just see this chat just flying with comments. This guy sucks. Trade him. He's terrible. And Kratzy's cracking up because it's like you played on the Yanks, and you could see this is how some of the fans are. What was the one impression you did for the guy who tried to get the baseball from that outfielder that we came up with? Zach Granick.
Well, that was just like a general. That was like a general outfield fan. They were always like in New York. Because we were talking about how Bryce Harper. I didn't think Bryce Harper would have thrived there like he's thriving in Philly, but that's another discussion. But we were talking about it and how New York fans are always like, "Hey, yo, Granite, yo, you suck. Give me a ball. It's my cousin's birthday." Like every New York fan ever.
And Severino, right? Or no, was it Severino or Loizaga?
Oh, no. Loizaga. The dude did the same thing. "Yo, Jonathan, you suck." And he turns, "Hey, I know English. And he goes, hey, give me a ball. So Loaisiga picked a ball up, and I mean, full 100 miles an hour, good late life spin rate, top of the zone, straight at this dude with no glove, and the ball just whack, hit off the bleachers. And the dude's like, thanks, Jonathan. And he goes and picks the ball up. Not the fact that it could have killed him if it actually had hit him.
Yankee fans, baby. You got to love them.
I didn't say anything.
They do. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite the same with Oriole fans. I think they're a little nicer. We'll ask Adley Rutchman about it. We have a lot of – no? You think they're rough? They're not as rough as Yanks fans, though.
No.
Yanks fans are just – okay, like if there's like an anger level, Yanks fans are always here. Orioles fans are here. But when we waxed that ass in 14 to go to the World Series, Orioles fans went to another level. I mean, it was like the family section in the stadium. Granted, the Royals fans, it was the family section. They were chanting Orioles, like trolling them. And they started throwing water bottles into the family section. They had to surround the section with security guards. So they can get angry. Don't get it twisted. They're just not as angry the whole time like Yankee fans are.
I didn't know that. I don't like hearing that. That's what I heard Yankee fans did to some free agents. Like, was it Verlander's wife or somebody else's wife or something like that in the playoffs? I don't like hearing those kind of things, because not to the family section. Normal fans, I've had it. but I was saying, like, the family section, I think should be a little. It's the family section. Like, you really want to go after, their wives and kids and uncles. Like, for real, go after the dudes in the outfield. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Agreed.
No fight should ever happen in the $150 seats. Like, you got a little comment. You know what I mean?
Chill.
Yeah, just drink your beer and your SOB. Outfield, them $35 seats, I got some anger. All right, I got a little ticked.
If you're trying to rumble, you go to the bleacher seats.
Go to bleachers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
I agree.
You don't want to be. Yeah, go to bleachers. I mean, obviously, don't rumble at all. Go to park.
No.
Go to park.
Hey, Jonesy's got plenty of options for you. Let's jump into things. Let's charge the mound. If you want to see the Tigers and the Guardians yesterday, you can sit anywhere. What were people dressed up as, Kratzy, at the game?
Yeah, it was come dressed as a seat night. Like, you get a free ticket if you dress up as a seat. I mean, there was nobody there. It was like it looked like a high A matchup between the Dunedin Blue Jays and the Clearwater Threshers. Like,
look at this from our friends at the Game Day MLB. If you're watching on YouTube right now, the tweet goes, I'll give $20 to whoever can count exactly how many people there were at first pitch of Tigers Guardians today. That's like, guess how many jelly beans are in the jar.
Yeah. That looks like an AAU tournament.
Yeah,
Foul Territory TV. Thank you, Nick.
Scouts.
Did you see this? They almost have more fans than Oakland. Oh, we're getting a reputation.
Like that.
Damn.
I like that. You know what's crazy? The Tigers, and I know this is like a stretch because of where they're at as a team and everything, but I looked where we were talking about it last night, and I didn't bring it up. I looked at landing spots, like the odd landing spots for Shohei Ohtani. And Detroit has a direct flight to Japan from Detroit. And I'm like, maybe if we reround the clocks 10 years, 2012, 2013, like Ohtani could be a landing spot in Detroit.
Detroit's a massive airport. That the old Northwest back in the day, they used to take them big flights. And I still don't know why Detroit's on that list though, as a place like that though. They need to cancel that flight. Anybody going to Detroit? Unfortunately,
also, is he flying commercial, Jonesy? Is he flying?
Hell
commercial?
no. We got the same agent. I'm telling you, he took off. It's on the social media. Somebody find it on the social media. But the plane he took off on to go to to Japan, big ass jet.
Hey,
I'm taking some big jets. It's a big ass jet.
All his, right?
Tanaka, he rented out an entire 737 to fly him and his family over when he first signed with the Yankees.
I don't blame him. I don't want to
From
see
Japan.
nobody.
From Japan to New York.
It's about 500,000. I'm guessing it's probably about 500,000 on the BBJ or 737.
I think he might have gotten a discount, and because it was also, 10, 12 years ago, and maybe gas prices were lower, I kind of remember – no? I kind of remember, like, maybe 300K. I'll look it up because there was a price on it. It might have been in the 300 range, so he might have gotten, like, a 35% discount or something because maybe he was a frequent flyer and he'll do it again. But Ohtani's about to get himself a little 500 mil plus. Yeah. He's flying private, so – everywhere. If you're listening to Kratzy's Detroit to Japan direct, earmuffs, wipe it out.
Little Caesars better give them like 80% steak. So here, look at man. All the pizza you can have. Throw in Little Caesars. That's the only way you get them.
Here is the company. The company is yours.
That's it. That's the only way you get them. That's the only damn way.
I agree. So, tough times right now. Not a lot of fans going to the game out there in the Midwest. I know it was cold. Also, that doubleheader took 4 hours, 14 minutes. That's how long some Tigers-Guardians games have taken in the not-so-recent past, or in the recent past, I should say. I've called some of those games where it's over 4 hours. That's 2 games in over 4 hours. So at least you get your money's worth. All right, main attraction, Angels, Yankees yesterday. 5-2. Yanks fall to the Angels, and they still are able to capitalize off the win. Not only do they make a fortune every damn day at Yankee Stadium, now they just got richer. Why? That's Shohei Ohtani's jersey. And if you shifted that to the right a little bit, that photo, and went up on the top shelf, there's another Ohtani jersey with his name in English on the back. And this was the ultimate trolling that I saw, Jonesy. So they had like a mini mannequin on top of that top, I can't talk today, top ledge, and it had a Yankees hat on the mannequin. So it was Ohtani jersey, Yankees hat right here. It's like, thank you very much. We have a much better chance of keeping him than the Angels do, so we might as well start cashing in on him right now.
I mean, you got a lot of Japanese people there also. And I'm telling you, the Asian fans buy merchandise.
Yeah.
They buy a lot of it. And it wasn't in Japan. Like, every time, again, you go to a baseball game, I got on my hat, and I got on my favorite jersey, and maybe a shirt underneath with a T-shirt with a name. That's it. Over there, they come with a bag, and they have my favorite jersey, my favorite guy underneath. They'll take that off when the other guy comes up, flash that, come out with the bag with the little banner. They got that guy who's up to pitch, if he's pitching. If the pitcher or a bullpen guy come in, they got some damn little bunny that came out, whatever little hell that came out for him. It's ridiculous what they do over there in Japan. So New York has had Godzilla and Tanaka. They know how to please the markets, and makes all the sense in the world to have an Ohtani jersey when they know that the Japanese fans that's going there, especially for the first time, maybe some people just got in the city and just like realized, oh, Ohtani's in town. You know what I mean? Whoever there's on tourists, and just, hey, you capitalize where you capitalize. And Yankees are hella smart for doing that. And I think every other team should do that since it's a balanced schedule, and you're going to see Ohtani at least 3 times. So you might see that all over with Trout, also, and some other selected players.
Absolutely.
And Ohtani homered, so if you caught the game late, you missed it because it was in the top of the first, 2-run shot. He won Ohtani versus Judge, round 1 at the moment. Judge has cooled off a little bit. Of course, Yankee fans were freaking out. Come on, Judge. One fan yesterday in that chat was like, he's too big this year. He got too big. I'm like, I think he looks the same. I don't remember reading any stories about, Judge put on 15, 20 pounds of muscle. I'm like, too big? I think he's just naturally big. And he'll be fine. Clayton Kershaw is looking good. What?
It's hard.
Hard?
It's hard.
To hit a baseball?
Yeah.
What? I didn't know that.
It's hard. Yeah, they don't. I mean, you get, no matter how much money you get paid, it's still pretty hard.
Oh, Adam, you weren't on for the Joe West interview. I got to send you a clip after the show.
Okay.
It's the best advice he ever received, that his percentages are better than hitters percentages, so don't let them ruin your day. Oh, we have it? Do we do it now, or do we wait for the Whit Merrifield interview? Because I wanted to play it for Whit too and see if he has Joe West stories. Here, it'll be a little tease. It's coming soon in about a half hour. I'll play that for you.
Okay.
Let's run through some other news. Clayton Kershaw, fourth active pitcher to reach 200 career wins, and he just dominated yesterday against a pretty good ball club in the Mets. 7 innings, no earned runs, 9 strikeouts, allowed just 3 hits, and setting all kinds of records. So props to him. Not fun to face. I'm assuming you've both faced him at least a bit.
I don't get to face good pitchers.
You never faced him? I thought dudes take a day off sometimes when you do get a Sale or a Kershaw. So maybe they go,
better not.
My shoulder's feeling a little weird today. Kratzy, you want to come in?
Actually, you know what? I lied. I did face Kershaw. I lied. I forgot about it. I got a rocket line drive, and then he put me on poster too. He made me a viral. He threw me a curveball 2-0 in the playoffs. That's why I forgot about it, because I was like, I didn't want to remember it. He threw me a 2-0 curveball, and I was looking for I think it was a 1-run game, 2-run game. I was looking for just something up out over the plate, and it was 4 o'clock start, so that the shadows were in. He was in the light. And he threw a curveball that started, where I thought, fastball, I'm going to whack this thing. And it was not there, and I folded. I was like, And then they just kept it on repeat because there was no other games going on. So, fortunately, it was only a 2-0 count. I didn't punch out on that one.
I got him a little bit. I got him in the All-Star game and a little bit with the Diamondbacks. But, I think maybe 6 at-bats, maybe. Not much, unfortunately. I got the other good lefty when he was fantastic. I think he's gonna get his way back when his elbow get great. But Chris Sale, that 4-year span where he was arguably the best pitcher in the game. That was he come to Baltimore. I'm like, damn, 12 strikeouts for sure.
How was that? Was that fun?
I mean, it didn't bother me. I was a righty, but it did at the same time. It scared the hell out of me.
At that moment,
it scared the hell out of me.
He was skinny, balls high. Well, for lefties, forget it. Lefties, I think it was day games at Fenway. The lefties were like, I see nothing. Even if it's not a game that's dipping into the shadows, he's like, just daytime. I've talked to plenty of guys that were like, I'm out. I'm out of the lineup. Don't put me in. I'm 0 for 4 with 2 or 3 punchies.
There's certain days, certain lefties you should take off. Righties. I don't think there's certain righties you should take off. Maybe, but Clayton for 200 wins, man. Cemented himself in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, he was going to be a Hall of Famer already, but cemented himself for sure. And what a hell of a career. And I seen someone tweet about the last few years. Obviously, Kershaw has not won a Cy Young in almost a decade, but he's still been pretty damn good. Like, he hasn't, you haven't seen a 4.5 ERA from him or something like that, a year like that. You know what I mean? You still see, I know he hasn't made as many starts due to some injuries and stuff like that, but he's still, every time he takes the ball, he's still been pretty damn good.
And I give a lot of credit to the Dodgers on that, Jonesy, because they have the right game plan for him. Because I think if they do push him too much, you could lose him for the entire season. They've had good pitching depth, better pitching depth than most teams. For the good part of the past decade. I'd rather have 20-something, 20, 22, whatever it is, really good Clayton Kershaw starts than push it for 32, and then the next year he's out for the season. So it sounds like they take really good care of him. They push back at him sometimes when he's trying to maybe come back too soon from something. It sounds like they just have a really good, honest, open relationship, and you're right. I mean, you look at the numbers for him, he's not really tailing off by any means. He hasn't had, so in 2019, he had a 3.03 ERA, 2021, 3.55. There's a lot of twos in here. 2.28 last year. Right now it's 2.52. And then of course you had those prime years in like the 2011 to 2017 range. But even since then, he is still a number 2
But
starter.
he's just not the 230 innings. You know what I mean? And the 250 strikeouts. You're going to get 145, 150 great innings. Get them. Let them pitch like they do in Japan every 6 day, once a week.
Quality over quantity.
Every 7 days. Again, they got the depth and they know they're going to be there in the end. So the quality you can get out of him is, and he's shown that every time he takes the ball, he's still, even though he's not 95, just on his power fastball, he still know what he's doing, man. That's why he's a Hall of Famer. It's like
Kratz.
Greinke, like he just knew just something different. Figure it out.
No, you're right. And he's 35 years old. Jared in the chat said, does Kershaw play another 3 to 5 years? 5
Hell
is,
no.
I don't see 5, Kratz. I could see 3.
Three would be a tough over under. I feel like it would be right at 3 that I think he plays. I think based on what Jonesy's saying about his 140 to 150 innings area, there's a lot that goes on to get him out there for that. I think he started his career at 19, 20 years old. He was ready. He's been throwing a lot of innings. There's a lot of innings on that arm, and definitely a Hall of Famer. But 3 to 5 more years, I don't see 5. If I were to make the over under, I would set it right at 3, and I think that's fair. But my question would be, are we ever in our lifetime, us 3? We're all the same age. Scotty's 40. I'm 40. Jonesy's 40. Are we going to see a 300 win? I was going to ask that to Scherzer the other day when he was on. Are we going to see a 300 win pitcher?
Verlander and Scherzer are the top dogs right now.
Yeah, they're not close, though. I don't think either of them are close.
Yeah, then you got I look at a box score and I see even big boys getting 4 2/3. Like there's so many times they get like 4 2/3. Like, give me this ball, man. Unless I'm giving up 6, okay, I would give up 4. Like, there's so many times I see a lot of people go 4 2/3. I just don't think the win is as important for the starter as it used to be. It used to be you get 20 wins, you get 18 wins, 15 wins. Like, man, you're a big dog. Mm-hmm. Now it's like you got a low ERA, or you got a good bad whip and a good defensive BABIP and a OPS WOBA square root against like whatever the hell he's been coming up with now.
Hey, your boy Dan Duquette loved that. He said, I remember like when you were with him, he was like, I guarantee you almost everyone on this team knows what their WOBA is. And this was like 10, 12 years ago. And I was like, I guarantee you they don't.
Mark Reynolds told me about that the first time. And I was like, man, what the hell is WOBA? He was like, when you bat his own ball. I'm like, and he's like, I have a high WOBA. I'm like, why don't you put the ball in play more then? It make more sense if he had a really good WOBA, like 313 or something like that. But if you strike out 200 times, bam, you limit your chances.
Just calls that an out. They just call that an out. They don't call that contact, so it's different. Well, and I'm on the middle with this because I do like numbers and analytics, but I also think that we go way too far. And Kratzy and I talked about that a little bit on the Yanks yesterday. But here's my thing. I will say I don't pay attention. You guys do this. This is one of the big differences between players and I would say fans, and then in between would be, people in the industry. I don't look at wins at all anymore. I just don't think the stat tells me anything. It's a player accomplishment thing, which is fine. I look at if the team win or lost, and I even like the record of how are the Dodgers when Clayton Kershaw pitches in a game, because in my mind, that also will hurt the value of a pitcher that maybe isn't going deep into his starts because he's leaving up more for chance at least, right? You're leaving more up to your bullpen. So I'll look at that, but personal wins, Justin Verlander's at 244. So in my mind, he has by far the best chance to catch 300 because he says he wants to be like Tom Brady and pitch till he's like 45. I agree. I don't think anyone's getting there. And then after those guys, I don't think you'll ever see it again. And I think the stat will become somewhat of a nothing just because I think the younger guys don't think about it or talk about it as much either. But
it needs to be incentive for it though, because
for wins,
if you're going out there 6 2/3 and you're giving your guy, if you're giving your team the best chance to win the game and you throw 110 pitches and you give your team the best chance to win the game and somebody blows it for you and you get a no decision and then you get hurt later because, okay, I got 11 wins instead of Felix Hernandez, prime example. He should have had 22 wins every damn year with his ERA. You know what I mean? But he only got 11.
That's why it's not fair. That's why it's not fair. Like Jacob deGrom a few years ago with the Mets, every freaking game he would pitch, it was nothing in the 8th. So they'd lose most of them. So my thing
But give the incentive to not – so you don't – okay, if you didn't get the 22 wins that you should have had, there should be an incentive for putting your team in that. I get quality starts. They don't care about quality starts when it really boils down to it. It needs to be an incentive like you really – this should have been your win. We're not going to give you a full point. We'll give you a half a point. In some, you know what I mean? There's always
there's another stat. There's another combo stat that you can come up with.
I'm sure there is something they can come up with. Came up with everything else. I'm sure there's something else they can come up with.
I would even argue that guys that don't go for the win are putting themselves in more of a opportunity to get hurt. And what I mean by that is when I used to play with guys like Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, they would not throw their best stuff until the situation dictated it. We're up 4-0. They are totally fine with going through an inning in 15 pitches, and if a run scores, they're pissed, but we're still winning 4-0. Now it's still 4-1. Like, they mitigated the situations. Now pitchers are, like I always say, velo slap on the back, smelling salts, and rip it through the zone as hard as they can. And so they don't think about, how do I mitigate this situation? How do I work myself through this? It's 7, 8, 9. They're not as good as me. I don't need to give them the best stuff. And that's why a guy like Garrett Cole goes so deep into games. Yes, he has great stuff, but he doesn't show you his best stuff until the situation dictates it. 1-1 game, runner on second in the 4th inning. Now he's putting some extra rip on that ball. Now he's going high in the zone. And I think other pitchers have been taught, you're not going deep. Use all your bullets, punch out the side, and we'll see you, whatever that takes.
You said that. He gets a low ERA. He has a low ERA. He gives up solo jobs. That's Garrett Cole he'll give up solo jobs. Like, hey, I challenge you. He give up solo jobs. That shows that he's not going, okay, look, man, I'm up 4-0. I got 97 right here. Hit it. If you can catch up to it, hit it. If I get 0-2, I'm going to throw you this bastard slider. I got to do what I got to do, and we're going to move on. But that's why they laugh. That's why Cole, you look up, he's the one that he goes all these innings. He ain't playing around. And like you said, these guys are max effort first pitch of the game. And I think that's why Dylan Cease had such a great year last year, because he reversed that and was like, let me get loose. The situation occurred. I'm going to be the bastard I need to be. He's so nasty.
He is nasty.
He throws the same pitch. Too. One ends up here. Another one ends up here. Like,
I never know what he's throwing.
You shouldn't. You're done.
Yep. Hey, here's someone who probably has faced him already and will have to face him for a long time. Orioles catcher Adley Rutchman joining us right now. Adley, great to see you. Flo's looking good. Yeah. Hey, what's up? You got a good crew here. Adley, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're good, man. So do your pitchers care about wins? We were just talking about Kershaw picked up 200 last night and he was fired up. Do you guys still talk about the stat a lot? Because I know the younger crowd doesn't look at it as much and looks at all the advanced stuff that Jonesy doesn't love.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome milestone. It's tough though, like, as you guys know, when you're going through the season, you're just like, you're focused on the game to game. But you definitely celebrate those milestones for sure.
Adley, what's the deal? You're rocking a goatee. Are you the last person in the big leagues to have chin hair, or is that all you can grow right now?
This is maxed out like 2 weeks right here. So this is the best I got.
See, this is what I try to tell people. Like, when you have a superstar who can only grow a little bit of chin hair, and you got dudes in high school that are like reclassing 3 times. And they got full beards. Like, Adley might grow another inch. Like, I'm so excited to have you on the show. But I want to throw it over to Jonesy because he's the Oriole hierarchy.
Yes.
I know he was your favorite player.
No chance.
He was your favorite. No, I want to know who your favorite player was growing up before we get into anything.
Yeah. So I'm a West Coast guy. So I remember going to Mariners games when I was a kid, like Richie Sexton, Ichiro, But I think like Albert Pujols was probably my favorite guy.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that's a great one. Adley, how you doing, brother? I know
Good. How you doing?
I don't even know what. Good. Yeah, it's 1:30 out there. How has Baltimore treated you? Just, I mean, obviously social media. I haven't been there in a while during the season, but looking social media looks amazing. How they've embraced you. But how's it for you? As you know, you're the young heartthrob of the city. Hell of a player. How is the just they treated you just so at the ballpark in a way?
It's been awesome. Everyone's treated me great. I mean, honestly, since the moment I got into Baltimore, like post draft, they welcomed me on the field, and everyone was cheering, and so I've always felt super welcomed in the city, and it's been a great experience. I like really can't ask for anything more, to be honest.
So when we have you on in 10 years from now, well, now 9 years, because we like to celebrate anybody that gets 10 years in the big leagues, and we're asking you about your career, what do you want individually? And also, what do you want to have brought to Baltimore in that 10 years?
Um, I think honestly, like just hearing the way guys talk about players that they've played with. For me personally, I would want like my teammates and stuff and people who played with me to say like more than anything physically or talent wise that I was a good teammate. That I brought it to the field every day, like regardless of how I was doing, like going hot or cold, that like I was the same guy every day, did my work the same, and was a good teammate. I think that means like more than anything, just because baseball careers are short in the grand scheme of life, and so like those relationships that you make, to me, are going to be the things that like matter way more than like what you do talent wise, because I think people remember way more like how you treated them than anything else, and for me, I want to give it my best shot while I'm able to do it, and I don't want to have any regrets at the end of the day, and I think we got a good thing in Baltimore going on right now, and so win as much as possible and see what we can do together as a team.
Adley, you were a Yanks fan growing up, right?
So my dad was friends with Scott Brocious. So when I think he was MVP in 2003, if I'm correct. But so like kind of like Yankees fan, like when I was really, really young. But once he stopped playing, shifted over to more of the Mariners side.
Right. Makes sense from being in Oregon. So my question on that is, the Yanks have Ohtani in town right now. They're selling Ohtani jerseys in their team store, which, hey, good for them. They're making extra cash on it. Would you be okay with the Yanks selling Adley Rutchman jerseys in their team store?
I mean, doesn't really matter to me, to be honest. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it.
Hey, the Orioles right now. I mean, it's a scrappy team. You never give up. It's like a two-part question. One is, why you always go to the pitcher to meet the pitcher when you got all that gear on? You're already doing too much running as is. I don't know why you do it. I love it. I don't know if you got it from your college days or always done it, but I don't know why you do it because you're tired. You're being crouching down. But the outlook of this team right now, like you guys just annoy the hell out of everybody. People know y'all coming to town. You don't give up at bats. You score most of your runs in the sixth through ninth innings. Like, what is up with this team's resilience? Because I watched the game and I'm like, the guy got 10 strikeouts in the first inning. This is 0-0, and then 6 runs. Like, what's up with this team's resilience?
Yeah. So like first thing with the catching, that's just been something that I've done like since I was young. I just love meeting pitchers, man. I love sharing those moments together and letting them know like I'm there for them. And it's just been one of those things I've always done, and it's always felt like like authentic. I love it. I love it. And just as far as our team goes, I think we got a lot of guys who are really just like committed to like the process that we got going on in the clubhouse right now. We got a lot of guys who are just like committed to kind of just, that mindset of like, we're down but not out ever. I don't think we're ever I don't think we ever think we're out of it. And when you got 9 guys in the lineup who are all committed to that same belief, it's it creates that unity and just kind of that fight. And I think when you have that kind of culture, it's contagious.
Adley, I want to mix in some fan questions as we're going along here. So this one, I mean, he's actually a broadcaster. He's in the media. But Clinton Yates, who loves college baseball, he said, would love if you asked Adley about the importance of college baseball as he sees it.
Just for, like, guys' development or, like?
I would say, I mean, he didn't specify, but my 2 angles would be the fan factor, entertainment factor of college baseball and its meaning in the NCAA landscape, and then also in terms of development for someone like you who grew a lot when you were at school.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think like college was something that I definitely needed. I wasn't ready out of high school as far like to go into the pro system for sure. From like just a mental standpoint, like knowing what I was doing. For me, like having the structure of like college where you're practicing, like learning, all the little details of doing like first and thirds and like bunt defenses and having 6 a.m. weights and just being on like that kind of strict routine for me, like really taught me a lot. And, those 3 years of development really helped me. So I know there's obviously a lot of people have success coming from high school, but for me, that was just kind of like, I guess, my journey. And then just being able to like play in front of a lot of fans on a consistent basis, I think helped like me deal with like I guess the pressure that comes with playing in front of a lot of people on a consistent basis because it is a huge jump from high school. So I guess that's my 2 cents.
You played at a big league college too. I think that's fair, but you led those boys too. So I think that's a great. But you got drafted by your hometown team. I mean, essentially hometown, the Mariners. Was that tough to turn down?
I mean,
a little.
Well, the thing is, I think it was more of a, I don't know, like I guess a courtesy more than anything. I think that everyone knew I was going to college. So like I don't think it was really ever too much of an option just because I was really committed to going to college at the time. So.
Yeah, I hear that.
I wanted to ask you, it's contracts. It's been a lot of contracts for young players. And I mean, it's good and bad. I think a lot more good. Obviously, you can take care of your family, take care of your chickens. Again, answer if you want to or not, have any well, first off, who's your agent? That makes a big difference.
It's out of California, Beverly Hills Sports Council.
Okay, so it's not Boris. Okay, well then, so I mean, it's a possibility things can happen in season and before free agency. But have any hint of anything towards you as you've seen, just other players on other teams, other organizations, other situations sign any extensions?
Sorry, what was that?
Have you had combos, right? Is that what you're saying, Jonesy? Has he had conversations?
Have you had any combos towards anything like that?
Oh, no. I've been pretty focused on just like playing, I guess. I don't know. No.
Good, keep it clean.
I've got some more yeah, there you go. Well, Jonesy, I mean, you went through that with Baltimore, right?
Yeah, I was in my 4th year, yeah.
4th year, yeah. Mm-hmm. And what was that like? Did you do it during the season?
I did, and they started in spring training, and then we worked it out by like 2 months. And I was like, they was like, we want to lock you up. I'm like, okay, I ain't got no let's stop. We don't want to talk in season. from the streets, bruh. Let's talk. Holla at me.
I like it. Hey, I got a few more fan questions for you. This one's pretty in-depth. Mark Dixon said, he seems to be taking more outside half pitches to the opposite field this year than last year. Is that the case? Did he make a conscious effort on that in the offseason?
For me, like like in college and stuff, I've always been able to like go with pitches pretty well. So I guess I kind of got back to that this off season. I don't know. There's something that comes with like slowing down my load for me that allows me to have more time to, I guess, process pitches and be able to like outside pitches, hit them the opposite field, inside pitches, turn on it. So just kind of slowing down, I guess, my load in that aspect of the game allows me to be able to like put better swings on the ball, thus like taking pitches to where they're supposed to be going.
Are you gonna have more than 4 bags this year? Everybody's talking about the new bases, all this stuff, and I know you're over there like combating it. And then once you answer that, then I gotta follow on that.
I don't know. I mean, I have one attempt right now, and I got thrown out. So we're not looking too good right now, but we'll keep trying.
Tell my guy at first base to send you, because Sanders is like an absolute peach of a human being. He's got to send you. But the question is, how are you guys combating it? As far as from the dugout, getting the signs. Hey, looking in. He's over here, giving you whatever the Does Hyde run the running game, or who runs the running game?
Yeah. I think combination of him and Freddie. And honestly, I don't really know, but I think it's mainly those two, and probably some analytics in there as well. But I really don't know.
Oh, I mean, from you to like, who gives you the signs from the dugout? Does Freddie give them to you, or does Hyde give them to you, or do you call your own running game when you're behind the dish?
Me, I guess, as far as like signs go, like I'm the one doing it most of the time, and then sometimes we'll get like signs from. I don't know how much I can share on this. But.
Okay, yeah. Don't. But how are you guys combating it then? I don't care who the signs are. Like what are things that you guys like? Do you guys have to talk to pitchers more about keeping runners close? Do you have to, because some teams, including you guys, are running wild. So what is the discussion that's different from last year that it is this year?
I'd say it's just like making guys more aware of who the run threats are on the other team, who we have to be extra conscious about as far as like hold patterns go, because guys got to be good with holds and being selective about our picks. So, I mean, it's just a higher emphasis on that, I guess.
By the way, Adley, as someone who's asked questions for a decent amount of time at this point, I know I might look 12, but I'm actually in my mid-30s. I've been in the game for a while. When you guys are in the playoffs soon enough one day, and they go, hey, Adley, what's your game plan about how to beat the Yankees tonight, or something like that? Instead of like doing the cookie-cutter baseball answer like, oh, we just got to execute whatever, just be like, I'm not telling it's the playoffs. It's a game plan. Just like Kratzy's trying to get all the inside secrets of the O's right now. You can just be like, I'm not telling. We're going to go play the game, and you're going to see what happens. So anyway, let me mix in another fan question. We have some video for this too, because I don't think a ton of people know this, so I want to bring this out. Although one of our fans in the chat right now, Eric, said, would he rather try and tackle Christian McCaffrey again or hit against Felix Bautista?
In open field, I'd rather hit off Felix Bautista. I don't want to look. I mean, they're both going to make me look dumb, probably, but yeah.
All right, give me the play-by-play, Adley. I need it.
Oh, well, we were trying to kick away from him, but if you kind of saw in the beginning, they kept doing the switch where he would, like, as I was running up to kick, they'd switch guys. So he ended up getting the ball on that because we were trying to kick away from him the whole game, and then, just ran down, a little Oklahoma drill, tried to pick a hole, and stuck him.
Did you help him up right there? Was that you helping him up at the end of the play?
Yeah, that was me.
You're a civil servant. That is unbelievable.
That's too nice.
I mean, it's Christian McCaffrey. I gotta get my time in, try and have a little combo.
Now I gotta lay out for this, because we have the video, I think, of your high school field goal. Now I think this story is probably more prevalent Claudia, I think we have the video of that, or maybe we don't. Can you walk us through
There it is.
what happened? Like, this is an absolute crank. 63
63.
yards?
63.
Yeah. So this is quarterfinals of the state playoff in football. We're at home, and before the game, we're like, you do your field goals, and you go out to like basically as far as you can go, and you kind of find your like quote unquote range for the day. And so I was kicking from like 65 before the game, and so our coach was like, "All right, we got 65 and in today," and we get to halftime, and there's like 5 seconds left in half, and I think our assistant coach calls timeout, and we're at like the 47-yard line or something, and our head coach is like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Let's kick a field goal." And our head coach is like, "All right." So we send out field goal unit, 63 yards, and this was at the end of half. So everyone got to like storm the field afterwards, and we got to go into halftime in the quarterfinals. So it's pretty cool.
That is awesome. I love that. All right, I got another fan question for you. Joan, do you want to do yours first?
Oh,
About
Sam,
food?
just about food, man. Baltimore's such a awesome food place. What's the spots you've hit up? I know you go ahead. What's the spots you've hit up so far?
So I think one of the first places I ever went when I was in Baltimore was Jimmy's, famous seafood, and they've always been like unbelievable. Like treated like Orioles guys great, and
Always have.
also and they also have great food. So that's kind of a win-win. Big breakfast guy. So like I try and find different breakfast spots. So I'll kind of mosey around and try and find different like coffee shops and breakfast spots. But I'd say like Jimmy's always been good to me, and there's a couple other spots in Baltimore.
Don't give your secrets. You don't want nobody knowing where you at. Smart.
Jonesy,
Smart.
you should know. You were there forever. You've got all the
I know,
spots.
and all the spots I went, nobody was ever at. So I can send you to right places. I'll send you them off, so you know where to go when nobody will bother you.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, multiple people asking about just the art of switch hitting, how challenging it is to find consistency, and why you started doing it in the first place. Was it Little League action, or you picked it up later?
So I was a natural righty, swung left-handed, like probably like 10 ABs a year from like 4th grade through 8th grade. And then my freshman year of high school, I had like a injury, and basically I could only swing left-handed. So my whole freshman year of high school, I only hit left-handed, and I think had I not done that, I probably would have just been stuck with right-handed because it was way more comfortable. But since I did that, it forced me to hit left-handed. And so since then, I've been a switch hitter based on pitcher. And,
I like it. All right, one more from me from the fans. Noah said, and we had someone, at least one or two, ask this to Jonesy's Twitter as well. Could you guys bring the pie in the face back for post-game celebration? Jonesy was like the king of that back then. But you guys have, is it still going? The water bong and the sprinkler action too. There's a lot of theatrics in the dugout right now.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, we got the sprinkler for second base and the homer hose for home runs, and then just the turn on the faucet for singles.
Wow.
Hey, man, there's a lot of wasted water out there, man. Pies is just wasted. Yes, pies wasted custard, but no
hydration.
Who came
we're
up
all
with it?
about hydration.
Who came up with that, Adley?
I think it was Irvin and Aiken were the guys who came up with it.
I like that. There's a celebration per bag, right? Which ends with they're not wasting it, Jonesy. They're drinking the water.
Yeah, but when they do the hose, they're sprinkling, and it's turf right there. So no, it's dirt. I'm sorry, it's dirt. It used to be turf.
No, it's dirt. It needs a little bit of
water. It used to be turf. I mean, I'm saying it used to be dirt.
That's your home.
It used to be turf. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. Hey, Adley, this was fun, man. We really appreciate you coming on, and also, obviously, a ton of fans had questions for you. Thanks for being a good sport about it, too, and good luck the rest of the way, man.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Adley.
Good luck tonight, brother.
Adley Rutchman of the Orioles with us on Foul Territory. Good questions, too, from the fans. Actually, I'll say this, Kratzy, the fan questions were better than our questions.
They were. We were asking too many baseball questions. He lit up more with the football questions than he did with the baseball questions.
I mean, that's cool. That's fun. And also, I love that. It's like, yeah, I'm going to dap up Christian McCaffrey, just tackled him, and I get a word with him? Why the hell not?
Was Christian McCaffrey when he was in college?
Like, was he a stud?
Yeah.
I knew he's a stud, obviously. But was he from the jump? Was he a stud?
As far as I know, and I'm not the world's biggest football nut, but as far as I know, he was absurd.
First day on campus.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm not. I don't know I know it when the dude's about to get drafted. That's it.
I've got a resounding yes from Jeremy behind the scenes, who's paying more attention than we are on the football side. So yes, absolutely. Okay, we've got Whit Merrifield joining us in a little bit, and then also Sam Blum on the Angels-Yankees series going on. He writes for The Athletic. A couple more things from the top that I didn't get to. Two more. One, Hunter Greene cashed out. 6 years, $53 million on an extension. Here's the thing, too. He's so damn young that if he was a free agent, if he made it to free agency, he would have been there entering his age 28 season. Now, this deal, though lucrative for him and not a monstrous deal, because some people were like, oh, he should have waited. He could have gotten to free agency and maybe gotten a 100, 200 plus, whatever, if he develops into a top-end starter. I mean, Cole's 300 plus because of the age. The age is important. Well, pump the brakes. Even if they pick up the team option, he gets to free agency entering his age 30 season. If he's a good starter, that still looks good to me. And Jonesy, my thing was, I'm looking back, and you know this stuff and how he pumps that heater. Hunter Greene has all the potential in the world, and he's just getting going with his career. But he missed a couple of years with Tommy John surgery, strained right shoulder. Ball hit him the other day, and I think he looked around, did one of these, and said, I'm going to get the bag, and then I can do this free agency thing later on.
I mean, it's just smart to lock himself up, take care of his chickens. But he's just learning how to pitch in the big leagues. He's got an incredible stuff, but he's still learning how to pitch in the big leagues. You know what I mean? And I think right now, I mean, CAA, good job, CAA. That's my people's too. But it's smart to always, I think, secure your first fortune. Obviously, he was a high pick, so he got a lot of money coming out of the draft. But this way, he can just go out there and pitch and don't have to worry about nothing. It's contract season for a lot of guys, and he's with another guy. Sign your extension and be the face. You can see he does so many things in the community. Let him be the face of the franchise, obviously with Votto, but let him be the new face for the next 6 years. And again, he can go pitch for 4 years, pitch great. And then if he's top 3 Cy Young for a few years, there's the extension that everybody's talking about, the free agent money, that they'll throw the 200 or the 180 extension that way. Maybe not Cincinnati, though, but I'm just saying. Maybe they trade him and he go get the real money.
we had Rob Parker on Friday, the day before Jackie Robinson Day. And he was one of the guys that they brought up. Hunter Greene's doing so much, like, on his own, whether it's in a collab with another group. Like, he's doing so much for baseball and black players playing in baseball and scholarships for youth. And, like, this dude, like, talking to him on the phone when I was talking to him to try to get him to come on the show here, like, he's so well-spoken for a 23-year-old kid. Like, 23 years old. This dude, he's very aware. He has a great conversation with me about baseball, about life, and like the things he wants to do. He hosted, I'm not sure what the program is called, but he hosted them all at his house when they were out in Arizona. Like, this guy is, yes, his ERA for his career is a 4.42, but he's bigger than what his numbers are going to be. And I think his numbers are going to come down. He's a velo thrower, and so I think he's just going to continue to get better and lower those ERA numbers. And because he strikes so many people out, and he's going to lower his walk numbers, and his strikeout numbers are going to go up. I'm excited for him and for the city of Cincinnati. Like, very few times do pitchers want to like sign a deal and stay in an absolute little league park. So good for them.
Yeah,
I think I think he, when you talk about just maturing, it's kind of like Felix Hernandez to me when I remember because we came the same with the Mariners. He'd go out there for 4 2/3, 100 pitches. You can't pitch like that. And then he learned, you know what? I'm going to pitch to contact early in the count. Now, if you foul my stuff off, I'm going to strike you out. That's how the big dogs do it. I'm going to pitch to contact early. If I get 1, 2, I got to wipe you out. That's how they get the strikeouts. You foul their stuff off. But once he gets that thing, what Felix did was, look, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to pitch to contact. And he started going 7 2/3, 8 innings. Him and Verlander at that stretch were just eating innings. That's what Hunter Greene, I believe, can be. And once you just learn, look at, hey, I don't need 102. I can pitch the first 3, 4 innings at 97. That's still plenty. With a 2-seam, I can cut it. And then later in the games, pump it up. And it's about eating them innings. And if you eat them inning eaters, they still get strikeouts because they pound the strike zone. That's why they're eating so many innings. And when he gets the ability to every time he goes out there and they can count on 100 pitches, but 6+ innings, 7 innings, that's when you become that upper echelon of the pitchers in the game.
And the pitching coach that he has now, Derek Johnson, he's there. I was just talking to DJ last year. He's talking about signing there for another 4 years. They were talking about extending him. He is a guy. He is one of the best pitching coaches in the game right now. But you're exactly right, Jonesy. Dating back to last year, his last 4 starts were 3 1/3, 4 2/3, 6, 3 innings. And, in those games, 10 punch-outs, 5 punch-outs, 8 punch-outs, 8 punch-outs. There's a lot going on there that he needs to learn. But to me, that's the easy part, is learning that part.
Exactly.
You can't teach somebody 100. What did he hit this year? 105, 104.8, something like that.
Damn.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Can't teach that.
No, can't teach that. And you're right, as we're about to bring in Whit Merrifield, on him as a person, smart dude, great grades growing up, plays the violin, he paints. When he was 13, he won a nationwide essay. He talked about how he used Jackie Robinson's values when facing his own barriers in life. That earned him a meeting with Jackie's daughter, Sharon. Sports Illustrated cover at a young age. I mean, this is a mature, and I interviewed him when he was at the draft. This is a mature, this is a wise beyond his years guy that you want involved in the community, with your team, etc. The whole deal, the whole package.
Transcendent.
So, yes, agreed. Congratulations to him on the extension. Guest time. Let's hit the line again. Let's bring in our guy, Whit Merrifield of the Toronto Blue Jays, joining us right now. Whit, good to see you. Hey, the guys were actually wondering. They were like, are we going sleeveless again today? Nah, he's inside, and he's not coming fresh off the field in spring training. How you doing, man? How's the season going so far? Uh-oh. Is Whit frozen?
Frozen. Dang, blue steel.
I was like, am I getting the blue steel or the death stare? All right, he'll come
You
back
got to
in a
pay
second.
for it.
He didn't pay for that internet.
You pay for the internet.
Whatever the hotel is in Houston, they're just not.
Yeah. They're not letting
the internet work.
He'll come back. Don't worry. Are we able to show? I had one more thing that I wanted to drop from the headliners from earlier in the show. The Alex Verdugo clip. Because I can actually ask Whit about this too. Yeah, let's do it. Let's run Alex Verdugo post-game, all fired up about the Red Sox dub last night. Uh-oh. We didn't hear it? All right, we'll try
He
it
dropped
again.
a couple F-bombs.
He did. He dropped moral
He dropped
of the story.
3 that I heard.
Did he drop 3? Was the F-bomb counted 3?
It was right out of the gate.
Yep.
And then he dropped it again, and he was like, and then he dropped it again, trying to say oh, my bad. It was just raw. It was just real emotion.
And no one cares except somebody, there's somebody, I'm not going to name who, that are a category, that'd be foul, but there's some people that are like, oh, earmuffs, oh no. What do you want him to be? He just, how awesome that is to get a walk off in the show? Lady, man, for a minute.
And I think somehow, somewhere in between, I'm not somebody who tries to curse all the time. Some people, it's part of their vernacular, and they're just words. They're not, there are harmful words, there are hurting words. In that moment, the dude just hit a walk-off double off a wall that's like this big. What do you expect him to do? Like, what do you expect his emotion to be? Thank you for the baseball bat that I got today, and I appreciate you interviewing me. Anybody want to throw Gatorade on me? No, man, you're smashing pies in people's faces. You're taking hits out of the water, what they call the Homer hose. Like,
Yep.
show
PD would be
emotion.
like that. PD would be the same way.
Yes.
Their whole team, obviously Poppy said, after the terrible incident a decade ago, Poppy was like, this is our city. You know what I mean? He sounded like a drug lord.
The F-bomb in Boston, though, is it's actually one of the first words you learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like hat, cat, F-bomb, dog, chicken. Like, you learn how to spell it.
You're like 6, and they go, the kid goes, Mom, can I have some orange juice? Tommy, what do we say? Can I have some fucking orange juice? Okay.
And it's, I think the emotion and the energy, if it's not choreographed, is so awesome.
Yes.
Walk-off hits, the still photos of walk-off hits in the big leagues are some of my favorite. I hope you could have an entire calendar of 12 walk-off hits from Jonesy's career that, it's the dude. Like, look at the dudes. People are running out, and they don't care. Nobody's choreographing anything. Nobody's, like, putting on a backpack or, like, seeing how their hair looks. Like, it is full out, unfiltered emotion, and it's excitement. And there's, if you get the people in the background that gave up the walk-off hit, it's dejection. Like, there's no, like, it's awesome. And that kind of thing needs to be captured more than just some dude trying to carry a 50-pound camera onto the field and get into the melee. Like, I love the microphones. I think we need to have more microphones.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah,
they always get mad at the guy. They always get mad at the guy who gets to cusses in the interview in the clubhouse. Right? Why are you showing him get mad? No, hell no. I mean, that's raw emotion again. I'm pissed.
Exactly.
I just gave up that
raw emotion. Let it happen. Hey, let's ask our guy. I think he's back. Whit Merrifield back with us. Oh, there it is. Connection's looking good. I know. And what's up, Whit? And I know you'd like this, so I'll just spill this discussion right into you. So 2 parts here, because we were showing Verdugo just fired up after a walk-off for Boston, and he dropped a few F-bombs by accident. Obviously, you're allowed to do it on here, but he was like, oh, my bad. But it's like, wouldn't you rather get that and the raw emotion from a guy who clearly likes to drop a shit or a fuck every once in a while versus like your cookie cutter vanilla, oh, I was just trying to see the ball and hit it, and we got a nice win tonight?
Yeah, no doubt. I think, it's just genuine, It's not like, I think there was a time, I know when I was coming up, there were, in college especially, our coach always told us to be vanilla in interviews, and that's cool. It keeps you out of trouble. It keeps you out of saying stupid stuff. But at the same time, that's not really like how you're feeling in the moment. And, while people can maybe take something you say and spin it into some sort of bullshit. I mean, in the moment, the raw emotion, that's awesome. And I loved seeing what Verdugo did last night. It was pretty cool to see just that genuine excitement come out.
You don't love Verdugo. Don't be putting that out there. I know you can't be loving Verdugo as a AL East guy, but I don't even need to comment on that.
No, let him go.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I said I loved to see what he said.
Oh, okay.
It would have been nice if they lost, but they won, and just that emotion can't come out. It was cool.
No, I want to go to raw emotion. This is something that, like, I know about the story. I was there at the beginning of it, but I don't think that the foul territory crowd and maybe people outside of KC know your almost called up story. And how that correlates. I know you've told it a ton of times, but how that correlates to your dad's story also.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of a cool, cool. It might not be the right word, but a unique dynamic that happened. with myself and my dad. Just kind of a long story short with my dad. He was a second rounder out of Wake Forest. Two-time ACC Player of the Year, All-American, two-time All-American, was a stud. Drafted second round with the Angels. Got to AAA fairly quickly. Was behind Doug DeCinces with the Angels. He was the third baseman at the time. My dad was the third baseman. Spent 3 years in AAA with the Angels. Got traded to Pittsburgh. He's in Pittsburgh, I believe in Edmonton, Canada, is where their AAA was, and gets called up. Jim Leland is the manager. They go to Pittsburgh. He goes to Pittsburgh, flies in, cabs over to the field, gets in there. That night he's batting sixth, playing first base. Never played first base before, so he's borrowing the guy that he's trying to take the first base job from. He's borrowing his glove. Doesn't have cleats, borrowing cleats and bats. Goes out there, takes BP. He's in a new organization, so he said he hits for about 15 minutes in front of their GM, front office, coaches, whatever. Comes in, game ends up getting rained out. Leland calls him in the office and says, "Hey man, we want to send you to Florida to work on first base, and then we'll bring you back." He goes down there, never gets the chance to come back. The next year, gets put on the Phantom, I believe, to start the year, and ends up retiring. Never really enjoyed it, and hung it up. I had just been born, so we wanted to go home and be a father. So anyway, he was a big leaguer without ever being a big leaguer. In 2015, for myself, I had spent a couple years in AAA playing pretty well, waiting for my shot. KC had gone to the World Series in 14. In 15, I was the last cut in spring training, hoping I would make the team. Had a really good year in 14. Didn't make the team out of camp. Okay, I'm on the radar. I'll get my chance. 2015 in, I think it was June. Alex Gordon goes back. I'm playing left field a lot in Omaha at the time. Alex Gordon goes back on a ball, rips his groin in the third inning. I had just scored. I think it was our third inning as well. And I'm about to go on the field, play defense. Our manager says, "Hold on, you're out of the game." It was kind of almost like a borderline collision. It was kind of an awkward slide at home. I was like, no, I'm good. It's no problem. He goes, no, you're out of the game. Alex Gordon just got carted off the field. And I was like, oh, shit. All right, cool. Take me out. Yeah, please. So for 6 innings, I was sitting on the bench, knowing what was happening. Everybody on the team knew what was happening. I was getting hugs. My parents, who were watching, listening to the game, got my family in the car. Started driving to Kansas City because that was where the game was the next day because it was late at night. Sat there for 6 innings. After the game, I go in the locker room, pack my stuff up, making phone calls, people congratulating me. Walk out to my car. Our manager runs out and goes, "Hold on, Whit, come here." And so I drop my stuff in my car, walk back to the manager's office. He goes, "Hey, the team just called, and they decided to change their mind. They're going to bring up a pitcher instead to fill the gap." So I was pretty crushed, and this was June or July, and so I think I was playing pretty well. I was sitting around 300 at the time. Kind of crushed me a little bit, and it was my own fault to not handle it better. But I ended up not playing great for the next couple months. But still thought September was going to come around and I'd get a chance to, when rosters expanded, to get the call. September came, never got the call. That offseason went home with the full anticipation of retiring and doing something different. My dad had gone through a similar situation, talked to me. He was like, "Look, I'm not going to fault you if you want to hang it up, but just know if you hang it up, that's it. You can't put the cleats back on." And I was like, "All right, I'll give it another shot." And then, long story short, 16 came, last cut again in spring training, went to AAA, but I was there for a month and a half before I got the call. So, kind of a wild ride.
I was there in 15 when you were raking, and just to see where you're at now, it's super easy. But where were you at in a mental state in Omaha when it's freezing cold in 16? in like, especially after you saw everybody get their rings the next year, especially after, you know, all that stuff. Were you in a clean place, or were you like was it a dark place?
So 15 was a dark place. 15 was a dark place. And then, you know, winning the World Series, it was great. People asked me if I watched it, and frankly, I didn't. I wasn't really at the time close with anybody on the team. You know, I played with a lot of the big leaguers in spring training, but none of these guys I was like, I had been in a locker room with during the season, so I never really had a good relationship with them yet. So I didn't really watch it because it was heartbreaking for me. And then throughout that off season of 15 going to 16, I kind of made a little bit of peace with it. And so 16 was more of all right, we'll see what happens kind of thing. So I wasn't in that bad of a place. I got back to that dark place when I got sent down when I was hitting 280 in 16. And I think it was August, the month of August, I got sent down. I was hitting 280. I had just gone like 0 for I don't know, 11 or 12 or something, and 1 for maybe 20. We had faced like Kluber, Darvish, Bauer. It was like 4 or 5 straight games of gauntlet pitchers, and I had struggled. And they were like, "Oh, I don't think you're ready for this." And I was like, "I'm hitting 280. Like, I can. You do this throughout the course of the year." Anyway, so that kind of put me in a dark place. And then after coming back and killing it in September, I didn't make the team in 17, and that was the darkest place I'd ever been. And I went down, and for I think 12 games in 17, I hit like 480 with I think 5 home runs in 12 games or something. Just I was just angry. I was angry all the time, and but I got back up and
Look at me.
You
now.
know, it makes for a good story because you know not everybody's path is clean, and not everybody gets to the big leagues and just takes off. So everybody's got their own story.
I mean, what's up, Whit? I'm gonna take you away from that angry, that dark place, brother. I'll get away from that, okay? You're amongst people that love you. You know, you're amongst people who love you. But
yeah, but Jonesy, we need that story. Sorry, I know you got a question.
100%.
We need that story,
No, you need
dude.
that.
I got from the last
100%.
part, especially. I got the chills. Like you're thinking about going down and calling it, and Dad's like, I don't know. Like that gives me the chills. Like this sounds so millennial or Gen Z, exactly. But I'm like excited to share that on social media later. I guarantee you, someone's going to see that and be like, "Yeah, I'm sticking with this." Whatever they're doing.
100%. Dude, David Price. David Price wanted to quit in college. Like, there's so many stories, and it's great that because most people don't even talk about it. Like, you know. But I want to take you to the lights. You know, the new Toronto's outfield, whole entire stadium. It feels like. The energy in that stadium right now with the team, that jacket. I don't know if the Latins probably spray it down. I don't know if they dry clean it or not. Too many guys in there. Some 8th, 9th inning home runs might stink a little bit. But it's just how that transition being there. I mean, going there and getting traded there in the expectations to win right away. Like you guys are everybody's pick to win the East.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, before I get into the team, I will break the news to you that we did retire the jacket. The jacket has been officially retired. I believe we're auctioning it off. So it's a new I don't know chapter with as far as jacket goes. But no, Toronto's crazy, man. The city. I mean, I can't even say the city because it's you're playing for a whole country. When we go to places that border or close to Canada, kind of throughout the league, it's all Blue Jay fans. Seattle, Minnesota, Detroit, Pittsburgh, like it's all blue. It's crazy. But what they're doing with the new ballpark, they're bringing more entertainment into it, and which is bringing more liquids, and the more liquids that people consume, the louder and crazier it gets. I feel bad for the visiting bullpens. I don't know if you guys have gotten to look at exactly what we've done, but they raised the bullpens up and they brought the stands closer. I mean, but the visiting bullpen is you're throwing and you have crazy Canadians probably about 5 feet from you just yelling at you. It's wild. And you know, it's been early in the year and Haven't played. Well, we played Tampa, but like when New York comes to town and it's late in the year and these games are getting crazy, I mean, it's gonna be ruckus in there. Ruckus is that the right word?
That's a word.
Yep.
Next word.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, it's gonna be wild, and it's cool. The fences were brought in, but kind of raised, except for center field. I know you guys probably saw the Kiermaier Rob on the first game that we played at home. They lowered that part of the outfield, but the fences are brought in, so that's great. And after playing at Kaufman for my whole career, I'm excited to be in a more hitter-friendly park.
Do you think I've been trying to sell this, and I've been trying to sell it to Yankees fans, Seattle fans, and now you say about how Toronto fans, they're kind of ruckus. Do you think that Toronto fans could adopt the fact that they got the pitch comm in, okay, and the clock is ticking in big spots? Everybody gets loud, and the stadium should be shaking. They shouldn't be able to hear the pitch comm. Ball 4, walk the run in. You think Toronto can adopt that, or you think they're, whatever, we're waiting for the hockey season to start?
No doubt. I mean, you couldn't really hear yourself think last year in those 2 wildcard games, and I mean it's insane. Especially when they closed the roof. I don't see why that can't be adopted. Now, how we're going to get that happening, I don't know. Do we need to orchestrate it on the scoreboard or something? But I don't know. I do have a feeling as this pitch clock becomes more of a regular thing. It's like in basketball when you're playing on your visiting team and the shot clock's winding down and the crowd starts chanting 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 when it's really at like 12. Yep. I got a feeling that's going to start happening a little more often in baseball, especially in big games when there's a lot of people there. So it'll be kind of fun to see.
That'd be awesome.
Let's go to rules in the Atlantic League. How do you feel about the Atlantic League rules that they're about to roll out for the boys up there?
I just got asked about this yesterday from a reporter with us, and I hadn't heard about it until he told me about it. And it's I don't know. I think people that are in charge of our game are a little excited with some of the new rules that we brought in, and now they're like wanting to bring in more rules and do more things. And I think it's absurd. I think it's just way too far. We've gone way too far, way too quickly. So hopefully nothing comes of it.
And I'm guessing that one that stands out to you would be the designated runner. So, and I'm with you because I'm progressive. I was a big pitch clock fan for years just because I thought some guys were taking it too far with taking 45 seconds between pitches, like especially some of the relievers. But you're going to get to first, then the designated runner is going to come in, and you take a seat, then you can come back out. And I'm not a big guy on that hook rule either, where it's like, oh, pitchers are going to hit again because the guy didn't go deep enough. So what do you think about some of the ones that now you just heard of here and what they're trying out, like specifically on those rules? How would that look?
So my biggest problem with that is there's 3 parts to being a high-quality Major League Baseball player. You got to hit, you got to play defense, and you got to run the bases. It's why JT Realmuto is head and shoulders above every other catcher in the game. It's why Paul Goldschmidt is the best first baseman in the game right now because they do everything, and they do everything so well. And if we bring on this designated runner rule, it devalues those guys. It takes away why they're so important to teams and why they're so good. And I think it's just a cop out and a loophole way to bring more action into the game instead of incentivizing young kids. Like, you want to be a catcher, cool. Like, practice catching, practice hitting, but don't forget about running bases. Don't forget about working on your speed and staying fast and doing things that are going to help your team win. So that's kind of where my problem with it is. I think it's the same thing when it comes to bringing on this automated strike zone. I think you're taking away an entire part of the game and pitch framing. I think it's that's a huge part of the game. And, to do things just because, we have the technology or we have an idea to bring some guy in to run whenever we want, to think that'll help. I don't think that's correct.
How is this possible? You're telling me all this stuff. You don't even know about it. You're on the rules committee. How is this possible?
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I told the reporter. I was like, I think it tells you kind of where we stand with the league and where this all is, because we haven't even heard about it. They haven't even brought it to us. And at the end of the day, they got 6 votes. We got 4. So there's not much we can do except for go on there and talk to her blue in the face. But at the end of the day, they got 6 votes. So
that's my thing with, I get that they can overrule you on a committee. Okay. But at least just being a team player and saying, hey, let's present this and let's talk through it. Because maybe also, you're a big leaguer. You're playing currently in the bigs, running this by you and just talking through some ideas. Even if they end up disagreeing with you and trying it out, at least they spoke about it. I just don't understand how that process goes.
Kratzy, AJ, you guys were players, and Scotty, you've worked in baseball. Does it surprise you that they haven't run it by us?
No, but I'm saying my thing is, what if, like the Mets, this was my best example because they have the best example of it. If every time Vogelback got on, LaCastro ran, that's a big advantage.
Yeah,
that's a big. Yeah. That's a huge advantage.
Well, so would be an advantage. It'd be an advantage if you were like, hey, DeGrom, we're going to use our 5-foot rule today. You get to move the mound up 5 feet, and now you get to throw pellets from 5 feet closer because we want to, hey, come on.
It's gimmicky. It's gimmicky. Yeah. It's too gimmicky.
It's so gimmicky.
They've done enough so far.
There's strategy to it. Terrence Gore was an integral part, and Gerard Dyson were integral parts of the Kansas City Royals' success for those 2 years because they were on the bench, but you had to strategically figure out when was the good time to bring them in to get that at 90 feet, get that 180 feet to get in scoring position. And when they came in the game, they damn well better steal the base because if they didn't, they were getting burned. And Billy Butler or Salvi or whoever they pitch ran for was out of the game now. So you better come in and there's a lot of pressure on you to do your job. And that's that's an important moment in those games. I think Gerard Dyson in the wild card game stole third, which ended up, I think, pretty much getting Kansas City the win. But you can't just have that from the second inning on. It's got to be all right, strategically, when's the right time to bring this guy in? And pitch runners are an important part of the game, but you can't just have them roll out there whenever you want.
And I think not to belabor this, but you mentioned 2 guys that were on my team, Rod and G Baby, Terrence Gore. One made $15-20 million because he could play in the outfield and he could hit a little bit from the left side, and one has to scrape and claw to make any money in the game in Terrence Gore because, like what you said, he can't do the other things that Rod could do in different situations. And I think I'm not saying they're doing it money-wise. I just think they need to ask. There's a reason that Whit Merrifield's on the competition committee. It's not because you're like, oh man, I want to be the new nerd in baseball. No, you're smart and you want to step up and you want to help the game.
Yeah. No, you're right. I wish they would. I don't know. This is all just kind of come at us from yesterday. We haven't even had a chance to talk to the other guys on the committee yet. It's weird. I'm not sure how much traction this has from the league's point of view, but it can't have any right now, really, if you're not going to at least run it by us or bring it up to us.
Just to lighten it for a second, maybe it's a dad joke, but maybe the Freeze in Atlanta petitioned because he wants to make it to the bigs. And they're like, okay, we're going to figure something out for you, bud. We are going to get you in the freaking big leagues somehow. But there's one more.
That's the best mid-inning thing that they do.
It is. 100%. But that's what mid-innings are for, gimmicks, and that stuff's fun. But then there's still a game. Like you're playing the NBA, If you're a three-point specialist, you still got to play defense. If you're the worst defender ever, you're not going to be in the NBA. You can't just drain threes. There's guys that can.
Myron Noodleman needs his major league debut.
Who? Is that
Myron Noodleman needs his major league debut.
Wait, there's one more from that, just from a rule perspective. Single disengagement. Because I'm like, can we entice Whit into one of the ones they're trying? Even though obviously you haven't even gotten to digest it much. You're seeing 2 disengagements, and then it's a balk after that, and it's creating a lot of stolen bases. Do we need to go to 1? Is it even worth testing, or you feel like 2's the sweet spot?
I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I know we've got more stolen base attempts than ever, right? Like at least in the last 30 years, for the first whatever almost month of the season. How much more do we want? Like, are we trying to get anytime you get on base, or they want us to just start running? It's, I mean, 2 is fine. 2 is plenty. 2 is a big advantage. If a guy picks over one time, you know he's probably not coming over again. So you have a good lean to second base now, and get a chance to get a good jump on this, and that's what we're going for, right? We're going for more. You feel like as a runner, you have more of an advantage now than the pitcher because he can only pick over twice, and to take it to 1 already, we've done this for 3 weeks. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I gotta bring some of the emotion so you can look outside and see your sunny day that you have. Walk us through the whole KC, coming back to KC and how they treated you and what that felt like. And were there any tears? Have you cried?
Nice.
No, I didn't. I didn't cry. No, it was cool. We got there. We came from St. Louis, so we got in at a good hour. And I got to go out and see a bunch of my old teammates, go have some beers with them and spend some time with them. So got to do that early. Got to the field early on Monday. I got to see, training staff, front office, coaches, staff members, clubbies, all the people that I really had been with throughout my whole time in KC. So I got to see them early on Monday. I actually wasn't playing in the game Monday, so I got to spend most of the day knocking all that out. And first time I stepped on the field Tuesday playing, it was a little odd. Got a nice ovation, and then after about the first or second inning, it didn't feel as weird to me anymore. So it was nice to get back. It was more of like instead of being weird, it was just more like a comfort, like somewhere you had been a long time. So there was a comfortability in playing in that stadium. But no, I definitely felt like 100%. I was 100% a Blue Jay, and so that was a nice surprise.
I mean, this interview is like all the feels right now, all the damn feels. That was cool. Wait,
I didn't get booed, so that was good. I was kind of concerned I was going to get booed.
They better not. It's not Yankee fans, Royal fans. No freaking way. How are Royal fans, Kratzy?
They're the best. They're so Midwest. They're loud too. Don't sneak on the Royals. They are like, you want to go see a place? That's a place to watch a game for real.
That's why I'm like,
back in 16 when we were 16 to 17, we were, we didn't make the playoffs, but we were right there. And some of those Friday night firework nights, it was rocking. So
yeah,
hopefully one day they can get back to that. But it's a cool place.
That's why I'm like, keep it. I mean, we can get into it another time, but I'm like, I know they're looking into the downtown thing. I'm like, they got a good thing going. It's like a classic ballpark. I like it there. But Whit, awesome having you on. We'll have you on again soon, obviously. Appreciate the time, dude. Good luck this week. We'll talk to you in a few weeks, dude.
No doubt. See you, fellas.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Whit Merrifield, Toronto Blue Jays. Good stuff there. That was fun. And I know Kratzy, who freaking hustles. He's on this show every damn day. You got a big-ass game coming, right?
Big game playing Holy Ghost Prep.
Big game.
Nice.
Season down the stretch. So Jonesy and me are going to carry this, but we got one more thing to do with you, and then we got a guest joining us in 2 minutes. We need to go over those. We have to do it. BetMGM locks. And I'm only saying it because Kratzy and me had a rough night. We kind of sacrificed our actual thoughts to buy into the Yankee live stream that we were going on. So we had a big whiff. And AJ actually isn't confused anymore because he nailed it with that Cubs pick, which was my second favorite pick. And Kipnis tailed him. You and me, that's an L. Updated money bags, not looking incredible at the moment. There's a lot of time left in the season to make things up, though, so we'll be okay. But, I mean, I had to do it. I had to go in on the Yanks last night. I should have picked a different lock, but whatever. Up 345, 9-5. AJ climbs to 4-7. 5-9 Kratzy. And, oh, no big deal. Adam Jones is 2-0. If you're into accurate picks, then you should probably listen to him. So let's do our BetMGM locks of the day. Jonesy, you got to start off because whatever you say right now is gold.
I believe my home run.
I know what you. Well, no, not home run. Let's do your pick first. You got who was our guest today?
Oh, sorry. I got the Orioles beating the Nationals. That whole entire battle of the Beltway is going back to the 295, not the 495. So I got the Orioles stomping a mud hole in the Nationals today. I don't know the score, but I just go with the money line. I worry about the win. I don't understand the other stuff.
No, that's fine. You're a money line guy. They're minus 145, so he'll lay down 145 or 100 on the board, please. And it's Mackenzie Gore on the mound tonight because otherwise you're looking at the matchup like Nats are going to lose 100 games this year. It's not one of the better starters. I got to look it up for Baltimore, but
he's young.
That's why. Yeah, he's young, and the Orioles are going to score billions. So I like it. I'm going to tail that. I'll go next, Kratzy. I'm going right back at the game that we were looking at last night and doubling down here on the other end. I got the Angels money line tonight. So Brito coming off a rough start. Sometimes young pitcher gives you a flash of a couple good starts. Then the league catches up. He might have to readjust. You don't know if they picked up on the changeup and the fastball that looks so similar coming out of the arm. And also, I just think the Angels offense is actually playing good ball. Look at me talking nicely about the Angels right now. This is a team that does not have depth, but here's the good news. We're 3 weeks into the season, so almost no one's hurt. So Ohtani's there, and obviously he's fine. He's been durable. Trout's playing. Rendon's playing. I mean, their lineup looks really good at the top right now, and the bottom of their lineup's better right now than the Yankees' bottom of the lineup. They're struggling there at the bottom with Hicks and IKF and those guys. So I think even though the Angels used some of their best weapons last night, I see them winning this game tonight. I see them winning. I was tempted to go run line, but I'm like, maybe it gets close later because the Angels bullpen sucks. So Angels, I'll put down 100 for 115. Kratzy, make us some money tonight.
I almost faded you because the Angels cannot hit changeups. So unless he's tipping and they haven't figured it out, Burrito's changeup, I think, gets the Angels. I almost faded you, but I didn't because the run line was at plus 140 for the Yankees, but I didn't. I went back. I can't be doing this with emotion like I did it last night. I got it wrong, so I'm going back to analytics and statistics. I'm going the over in the San Diego or the Atlanta at San Diego game. It's Nick Martinez, who has a 5.6 ERA, and he's possibly leaving the rotation when your boy comes back, Musgroves, and Charlie Morton, dating back all the way to last season, the beginning of last season, on the road, he has an ERA of 5.5. And he is starting on the mound for the Braves. So I'm taking the over. It's an easy plus 100. So I'm going to put 100 down to get myself 100 and try to get a little closer to Jonesy. He might need to call bats for me if I keep losing as much as I'm losing.
Yeah, because we're getting a little bold with all these plus picks. We might have to start going on the minus side to get a little safer money right now. But hey, this one's for existing BetMGM sports users. BetMGM players who place a $25 anytime MLB home run prop bet wager get a $10 bonus bet to use on any MLB game. 3 easy steps to do it. You log into the app, opt into the MLB Call Your Shot Wednesdays, and place a wager either as a pregame or you can do a live wager in the amount of at least $25, which is the minimum amount on any MLB game. And then you get a $10 bonus bet to use on any MLB game. Always bet responsibly. Gambling problem or concern, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And lastly, Kratzy, before you get out of here, I need your home run prop pick because it's Wednesdays. We're looking for a dinger from a player.
Max Muncy putting one of the streets against Scherzer. Scherzer's going to give up his homers. He's coming back. His velo is going to be a little bit down. He's not afraid to attack guys. He'll throw him about 2 curveballs, and it'll be like, time for the heater. Oh, wacka, wacka.
I like it. Jonesy, who's homering for you?
I need Judge. You can't let Ohtani and Trout come to your house and just sleep in your bed, bro. Last night they Hey, Charlie Murphy skit with Dave Chappelle and the other guy. Come on, Rick James. Your couch, F your couch. That's what they did last night. That's what Ohtani did last night to the Yankees. And Judge tonight got to do what Eddie Murphy and Charlie Murphy and his brothers did and beat him down and repay him.
Judge plus 190 to homer. Muncie's plus 300. I'm going Max Kepler plus 600. I don't even think he had double-digit homers last year, but before that, he's kind of averaged about 20 a year. He's got a couple already this year. He can get hot. Corey Kluber has not looked good to me. Kepler doesn't hit lefties, so Kluber, you got your righty on the mound. Bad Boston bullpen, so plus 600. I'm going to brag about it all day tomorrow if we hit that. So Kepler's my guy tonight. And Kratzy, you're done, man. Do you have Kratz hats before you sign off?
I mean, we're talking about the Tacoma Rainiers. Did you ever make it up to AAA when we used the Mariners, or did you get traded before?
I
didn't
played
make
there.
it.
No. I
you're
played
talking
there, baby.
Josie, sorry.
Oh, not.
I'm kidding.
I spent 11 days in Tacoma. Most of them on the road. One day and 11 days, and they said, "You're not going to the big leagues." I said, well, "I'm not coming back to the West Coast. See you."
I spent 06 and 07. Tacoma was my spot.
Beautiful place.
Yeah.
I heard they have a
Beautiful
sick casino out there too. I'm going to spend some
Yeah.
time there in
I think
All-Star break.
Ooh.
You're invited,
all the guys
Jonesy.
go to the casino to get the dip because it's no tax. That's what everybody did when they went to Seattle and Tacoma. They're just
That's
like, "Hey,
nasty.
man, can I go get the logs?" Because they had no tax.
Did not
That's
know that.
nasty.
Oh,
It's always a reason why everybody
It is
does
nasty.
something.
But hey, you learn something every day on foul territory.
Mhm.
So Tacoma's got a good casino too. Check it out. Hey, Kratzy, good luck in your game, man.
Appreciate you. Everybody wanted to see my pants, so these are I got my game pants on.
Let's go. Wow. That's got a little White Sox City Connect vibe, green style to it, doesn't
Oh
it?
yeah, little Pioneers, Doc
Yeah.
Pioneers. The boys got to get it going. Tough game today,
That's fresh.
especially if their coach doesn't show up on time.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Those pants are tough. Okay, Jonesy, you and me to ride out the last 30, and our guest has been patiently waiting. We appreciate it, and I will partially blame, because he's my friend, Whit Merrifield, running like 5 minutes late with us because I couldn't let him go. He's on the rules committee. He's super smart and opinionated. He's a current player. I had to get the takes there. So appreciate Whit for joining us earlier. And Sam Blum writes for The Athletic, does an excellent job. He's covering, it's not a top-tier team, but he's covering a team that's probably talked about as much as any ball club and probably the most talked about team in the world. I think I'm pretty safe saying that, at least. With Trout and Ohtani, why the hell not? Sam, great to have you on. Love your work. And thanks for hanging around for a few extra minutes for us to finish up with Whit. How you doing today?
Oh, I appreciate that. I'm good. And yeah, thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of the show.
Thank you. Appreciate that. And first off, big series this week is Yanks and Angels. It's Judge against Ohtani. Oh, and Trout's there too. And right now the team is playing pretty good ball. Everyone's pretty healthy, although someone in the chat already was like, well, Jared Walsh is hurt. I'm like, they'll be okay without Jared Walsh for a little bit. So what are your observations of the team right now in this series?
Well, I mean, they've won the last two games, but they've been pretty sloppy. I mean, their weekend in Boston, they had 3 games they really should have won that they lost. They won the last one, but the first 3 they had leads. They kind of had errors and mental mistakes that cost them those games. So that's something they're going to need to clean up. It's up and down. I think, you probably sign up for a 9-8 start, which is where they're at right now. But overall, it's I think you can. I mean, you mentioned the bullpen earlier; they've had their problems too. So it's an interesting start. I think, like you mentioned, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, they're going to do what they do. It's just a matter of everyone else kind of showing that they can kind of put a competitive team on the field.
I want to know what the hell happened a couple of weeks ago with this. It was like a reporters forum, and I guess some people exited the reporters forum and don't want to talk to a certain group of people. Explain. I remember the tweets going on. I mean, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago. What happened there, man?
Well, I mean, I'm curious, kind of your perspective as a player too on these things. It's when you cover the team. I think I don't want to crap on the Angels ownership or their team president, but basically, I think that they just viewed my coverage as being critical. Which, I mean, I think if you look at the Angels in the last 8 years in particular, they certainly deserve that. This radio station is a team-owned radio station, AM 830, and typically would do kind of something like this every week where we talk about the team. Their play-by-play radio guy would ask us questions, and it was pretty harmless. I don't think many people watched it or listened to it, rather, and for whatever reason, it got banished from it. It also came about 3 days after I wrote how the radio station wasn't traveling on the road this year, one of only 2 teams not to be doing so. So yeah, and then I appreciated all the other beat writers, quitting the show, and I don't even know if it exists anymore. That little roundtable that we did every week, but yeah, it was silly. It was very silly. I don't agree with that. I mean, I think it kind of just shows, when media is owned by the team, it can be pretty filtered, and we see that quite a bit. So that was just an example of it, and I'll still cover the team the same way.
Players
That's
don't
awesome.
like that either. Players like when you tell us about ourselves. Again, we know it, but we also like when you come into the clubhouse and ask that same question that you write about. If it's easy, because we gotta say it's easy to sit at home and be like, well, he's not doing this from my couch. He's not doing this. I can write a story from my couch. When you come to the ballpark and you're like, hey, what was you thinking when you made that bonehead mistake? What was this? What was the scenario? When the media does that at the players, I mean, you're gonna have some scuffles. You see arguments happen, but the player respects that guy so much more. I was fortunate to have a market of Baltimore where it wasn't crazy. So I was fortunate. The only time it got crazy going to New York and Boston, and they would ask the hardest questions. And I get to Baltimore and be like, well, damn, these are layups, what you guys are asking. And you have to ask those questions because you have 2 generational talents there. You got the global best player. You got the United States best player. These guys need to play when all the apples are mattering. They need to play when there's 8 teams left, not when everybody can watch their own market. They need to play on Fox or whatever hell channel is covering the postseason. So these questions need to be asked because you can't wither away with Mike Trout's 30s. You can't. You did it with his 20s. You can't do it with his 30s.
And I think that like the thing that was bothering them wasn't even criticism of players. It's more, it's of Artie Moreno and the way that they've obviously just, like you said, I mean, this is, you can't put it on play. Look at what they had last year. I mean, I think people would look at that season and wonder how Mike Trout hit 40 home runs and Ohtani had a borderline MVP season and they still won 73 games. And it's, it's not the fault of the players. It's, who do they put out there? And I think that even, Phil Nevin and Joe Madden, who managed the first part of the season, and obviously Perry Manassian would look at that and they'd probably be honest and say that it was, they put a lot of guys out there who were below replacement players, and you can't put it on them. It's just who they are. And I think it was, that's where the criticism is. It's the investment that's put into the team, the roster, and then, player development. If you're having to rely on guys that aren't, replacement level, it's because you're not developing players. It's because you're not spending on the back end in free agency. And so I think that's, when you try to break down why the Angels can't win with these superstars, it's not just the roster. It's just so many things that go down the line.
Last thing on this, and then I want to jump to the Angels, is just coming from someone who's worked like under a controlled environment for a long time. Like, it's sports, okay? If you're someone that's so hurt about someone being critical about the way you're managing or the way that you make a decision or that you're rich as hell and you won't travel your radio broadcast and everyone else does, you need to look in the mirror and check yourself and say, should I be doing this job? Why am I doing this job right now? Because when you buy a team, that means that you are the subject of public opinion. That could be positive, like many teams in your state. Dodgers, Padres right now are real hot. Most people love the way that that team is run. It could be negative. And when that's the case, here's the hand, you deserve the criticism and you should be able to take it. Otherwise, don't buy a team that's completely out there for the world to talk about. That's just how the world works. I don't understand how you could be that concerned. You're not attacking someone's personal character. You're just saying, hey, why is the team I'm covering that's rich as hell with all these great players not taking care of people the way that every other ball club does?
Yeah, I mean, and listen, Artie Moreno, I mean, we're probably about 9 months since he said he was going to sell the team, or at least was, looking into that possibility. And that, I think, got people pretty excited, especially a lot of Angels fans, because, there was an opportunity for this team to be sold for $3 billion, which, would have, I think, surpassed the Mets record, if I'm not mistaken, which was around 2.4. I mean, you look at the Angels, they maybe kind of play a little brother role in the LA market, and I think that's for good reason, obviously. When you mentioned the Dodgers and their ability to kind of just continuously win and build a strong foundational organization year after year. But the Angels could have had that if they had an owner that came in that spent $3 billion, and if you spend $3 billion, it's not because you want to keep doing things the same way. It's probably because you want to be able to spend what it would take to keep someone like Ohtani. Which we'll see what happens in the future. It's so up in the air, and I know when he's in New York, they're playing right now in a few hours, it's a big storyline, and but it's that story's going to play out over the next 5 or 6 months. It's just the Angels could have probably had an opportunity to see the way that they operate change significantly, and then he's no longer selling the team, and it's just I spoke to him in I guess it was about a month ago now. And, it felt like there wasn't going to be much that changed. And he kind of defended the way he operates. And, it's not impossible to win. I think their roster is pretty improved. I think Perry Minasian did a really good job in the offseason to build a bit more depth and put them in a competitive situation, given their, I think that they just wouldn't go over the luxury tax threshold. So this is as good a roster as I think they could pretty much have under the situation. And we'll see what that leads to.
Okay, so on that topic, we're going to play a fun game. All percentages. And then you can explain afterwards. I'll give you 4 quick-hitting percentage questions.
Okay.
Number 1, what is the percentage chance that Shohei Ohtani re-signs with the Angels?
I go 22.
22? Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Number 2, what is the percentage chance that Shohei Ohtani is traded before the deadline?
10.
10. What is the percentage chance the Angels make the playoffs this year?
40.
Okay. And what is the percentage chance that Artie Moreno actually does sell the team within the next year?
I go pretty low on that. I'll go like 5.
Okay. So now you pick. Where do you want to do an explanation and which one stands out? Like, Jonesy, do you have one that stood out? For me, I would say 10% chance he gets traded. That's going to hush a lot of the national and international fans that are going, where's he going? Where's he landing? And my thoughts have been, yeah, they should have traded him last year and gotten an absolute boatload to actually give Mike Trout a chance. Yeah,
I think it could be the trade could have man.
I don't think so, Jonesy, because if they're even like around 500-ish, they have a chance at the playoffs, they're going to keep him thinking that they have a shot.
They can make it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think there's a couple of reasons. Yeah, if they're anywhere, and I think that this team I don't think is that bad where they're not going to be in a position where by the time we get to the end of July that they're not even competitive. I mean, obviously they were 27-17 last year, and they also were nowhere near the playoff race by the time they got to the deadline. So who knows? We're still so early, but I don't think that they'll be that uncompetitive. And also, I just think that they probably have this belief that they can get him to sign again. And if they trade him, that's just that you erase all chance of that. And so, it's I kind of agree with you. I mean, I looked at where their situation was a year ago, and I didn't necessarily think that you had to believe you could win in 2023 in order to not trade him in 2022, and they clearly believed that. And hey, maybe they can. I think that they outdid my expectations in terms of roster building in the offseason. But I mean, you could have really changed the outlook for your future, and but you just look at the track record here. They don't rebuild in Anaheim. It's just not the way they operate. They will sign a big name and or a couple big names and hope that it works. And it hasn't. I mean, it's status quo has kind of failed here. So it's it is interesting. I'm not saying that there's no plan here. There's no strategy. There's no idea of what to do. But I really would be surprised if they trade him. I think the only way they would do that is you kind of get to the deadline. They're out of the playoff race, and there's probably been some conversations with with Nez Bolello, his agent, and there's probably it doesn't seem like there's a super humongous path forward for him to actually re-sign. That would be that's the 10% there. Where if those things happen, I think he would get traded because you could get something pretty significant, even if it's still only as a rental. But that rental probably would come with the possibility of a team thinking they could have a better chance of actually signing him after the season.
So Sam, give me your favorite part of going to the ballpark every day, because you have multiple options here. I mean, you get to see 2 absolute generational players that are going to be Hall of Famers. And yes, we definitely spent some time knocking how this team's looked. And I do it all the time too, just because I'm frustrated because I'm a fan of the game and I want to see those guys on the grandest stage like we saw in the World Baseball Classic. I want him in the playoffs. But at the same time, on a day-to-day, you get to see the most talented human beings play a sport.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like what you said at the beginning, which is I enjoy going there because there's everybody talks about this team, and when you go into the clubhouse, I think there's just a lot of little dynamics that not everyone realizes. It doesn't always, a lot of players that you don't always talk about on a national scale, and I think that there's just a lot there, and there's a lot to this organization that's just so unique and so probably frustrating for fans, but also fascinating for someone like myself who gets to cover it on a day-to-day basis. I mean, it's just, to me, that's the coolest part about it. It's not going. I mean, we get such little access to Ohtani, and Mike's always available, but it's not about talking to those guys from my perspective. It's kind of just about telling the story of this organization, and really, it's just an interesting year. I mean, if you look at what this year really means, I mean, Phil Nevin, he's got he's 1-year deal. I think Permanazzi, I believe, has a deal through the end of next year. But I mean, so much of what he's doing is going to be dependent on how this year goes. I think you asked about already selling the team. I mean, who knows what happens if this whole thing falls apart this year? What would happen with his decision to possibly decide to resell? I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's just so much on the line this year, and I think going in there every day and kind of telling the story of this season to me is really awesome.
Sam, you wrote about Zach. Is it Neto or Neto? I've heard both
Neto.
a million times already.
Neto.
Okay,
yeah,
good. I'll push the narrative.
Yesterday. Yeah.
You confirmed it?
Yeah, yesterday's Neto. Yeah.
Okay. I've heard 50-50 split so far. I'm watching games every night. I'm listening to like every show out there, and I've heard half Neto, half Neto. So now it's settled. It is Neto, confirmed from the guy who covers him every day. So they call him up 9 months after he's picked. And it is not coming out of this big powerhouse school either. He went to Campbell University. He's the first player from last year's draft to crack the bigs this year. So sure, for a national audience, what's this guy about? But also, how unique is this for a guy from a small school to get called up? And in my mind, it could be even a little quick because the Angels realize that they're not a deep organization. And if this is the best guy for the situation right now, they need to win this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of reasons I think this all happened. So basically, I mean, if you look at what happened on Friday night, I mentioned some of these errors. They had 3 errors on the left side of the infield that night. It cost them a game. And, part of that is if the way that they kind of mix and match this year, they were playing without a true shortstop. So Neto is an actual shortstop. I mean, this is what he's always, I know he played around the infield at times and even pitched in college a little bit, but he's a natural shortstop. So I think that's a big part of it. You look at who they had in AAA on their actual 40-man roster, guys who were hitting like 150 to start the year. So they weren't going to bring those guys up. So this was, I think it's a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction, but also, David Fletcher, just fan favorite. But his last 2 years, I mean, he just swings at everything, and it was not working. He hits for no power. And so I think that they realized that he needed a bit of a reset. And so they actually outrighted him. They took him off the 40-man roster. And so it's a huge risk, but it's the same thing they did last year. I mean, last May, they called up Chase Silseth, who was also he was an 11th round pick, kind of a bit of a manipulation with, how they were going to pay him out of the draft with the signing bonus. But he was still an 11th round pick, and he was the first person to get called up from the 2021 draft. And he made his debut last May as a pitcher. So it's, this is something that Perry does. I mean, he's pretty aggressive. I think, I was surprised only because, Fletcher is someone that Perry actually extended for 5 years and $26 million. So this was kind of him acknowledging that has not really paid off in the way that maybe they anticipated. Obviously Perry's cut Justin Upton last year. The year before that, Albert Pujols, where they spent $58 million to have those guys play in different organizations or not play at all in some cases. So it's, not something they're necessarily afraid to do, but I was a little surprised by it. But, Zach Neto, I think, he's got potential. He's had he hasn't had a bad start. I think he's kind of put the ball in play a bunch. He's had some good defensive plays. He's only got 1 hit, but, we'll kind of see how it plays out over a little bit of a longer period of time. It's a risk, though. I mean, if he starts to really struggle or, it won't look good. It certainly will look like, they kind of made that move out of desperation and, they're just kind of doing things haphazardly. And like you said, I mean, this guy was playing for the Campbells in conference play a year ago. I mean, they weren't even, so he was a great college player, but there's not a lot of evidence of him being successful at the pro level, even though he was really good when he was in AA.
And last one from me, I got a fan question for you, Sam. Garrett says, Sam, is it true Ohtani was at least the subject of trade talks last year to the Yankees, Was there a real offer from the Yankees? I mean, people were talking about, and that's where you have to separate, and we have Ken Rosenthal's on the show multiple times a week too. You have to separate fans wanting something and conversations actually happening.
I've heard that, but it wasn't strong enough for me to really report any serious. So I wouldn't want to get too deep into that, to be honest with you. But I mean, listen, I think that there are probably a lot of people that reached out about him because where the Angels were last year, and they probably saw the same dynamics that I did and a lot of people did, which was, are they going to have any chance of paying this guy? How are you going to be able to pay Mike Trout and Anthony Rendon and Shohei Ohtani if you're not going to go over the luxury tax and all these different dynamics at play? So, I mean, I think a lot of people saw that and probably were interested. And, I mean, I've heard that about the Yankees, but I wouldn't be able to say definitively what that deal was or why it didn't happen.
No, and you're right about the point of, hey, everybody better be calling. I would hit them up with a text or a call every week and just be like, Ohtani available yet? Ohtani available yet? We know. I mean, GMs, you might as well check. You don't want to miss out. So it makes sense. Sam,
I was going to ask, you think he's auditioning for New York? Because I mean, he goes back to the Mets this year with the balanced schedule. So you think he's auditioning for New York because he's going to go to both places?
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know if he's like auditioning for New York, but he took a rare step of actually talking to the media yesterday. So I kind of read into that. Maybe it's a little bit of, hey, like, look, I can actually do this. He only does it after he pitches typically. So it's such a rare occurrence for him. I don't know. Listen, he also took batting practice outside yesterday, which he pretty much never does. So I don't like to usually feed into those narratives, but there were a couple things that happened yesterday that I thought were interesting that, you don't usually see. So, I mean, I don't know if he's auditioning for New York, but maybe there's interest there. It's, I think obviously last time he, made this decision to come to the Angels, I think he was kind of preferred to be on the West Coast. So I think you have to look at teams like the Dodgers and the Padres, who are, like you mentioned earlier, spending quite a bit. Maybe even the Giants. So there's going to be several teams, I think, that are going to have a competitive offer out there. We'll see if he even reaches free agency. There's just so much so much on the line these next few months in so many different ways. But yeah, I mean, I think that he's, I would be surprised if he's got that same feeling this time around that he would, not want to play in the East Coast. But we'll see. I mean, it's just he's so private, and they're all, it's so hard to get real tangible information about Shohei Ohtani.
That's crazy, though. I didn't realize the batting practice because, that, Jonesy. He never takes BP on the field.
No, he did in the WBC, and everybody stopped and was just like, what?
And he was doing it for the fans, He
hit the Jackie Robinson number at 42, hit the scoreboard in dead center in Miami. That's Stanton area, Judge area.
It's fun. It's really fun. And even in spring training, I mean, he would hit it over it's a treat to watch. I mean, even you see batting practice every day. It's like you actually have to stop and watch it.
Wow, I did not realize that. Sorry, I know I said last thing. So how often does he talk to you guys? Because I know you said he's private, and I know the Angels kind of don't get him out there as frequently. He also has to pitch, hit, deal with a completely a whole other group of media that's following him around every single day. So he's got a lot going on. I'm not expecting him to talk to everyone and spend time like that every day. But is it tough to get questions in with him based on how his availability is?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's, but it's like you said, I also understand it. And, it's like, I'm sure like Adam, I mean, I'm sure you were at your locker once a day at least. I mean, to take questions. I mean, that's typically how it's done. But with Ohtani, it has to be a little different, right? It has to be, you can't have the 60 or so Japanese reporters depending. I mean, there's way more now. Yesterday I saw there's tons because we're in New York. So there's, it's tough. You can't just be available at your locker every day in the same way that, most players are. But yeah, we really don't get him very much. And I get it. I mean, I really do. It's not a complaint at all. It's just kind of the way things operate. He's private. And like you said, he's got a lot more on his plate with hitting and pitching and a very structured routine. And, listen, I wouldn't tell him to change much because it's clearly working for him.
Mm-hmm.
We got the same agent with Nez, and trust me, the man is private. He's I can't even get in touch with Nez. No, Nez will respond 3-4 days later. Ohtani's high priority, and you got to keep his life private. It's too much. He's got two markets. You got 200 million Japanese people in Japan, and then you got the Americans. So there's a lot of media markets. So he's very, 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 very private. with everything.
Yeah, he said
in
yesterday
life.
he hadn't left his hotel in New York. Somebody asked him after the game what he what do you like doing when you're in New York? He's like, well, I haven't left my hotel outside of coming here. And I get that, right? Like,
Yeah.
if you were to go outside, it would probably be ridiculous. Yeah,
But he has the resources to set up everything he needs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he wants this good Japanese food and because Ichiro used to do the same thing, is he wants what he wants. They cater to you.
You got Ippei.
Yeah.
Ippei does it all.
Ippei, go get your ass out there and get something.
He'll get mobbed though. People know who he is.
So Ippei, well, they don't know Ippei autograph.
Man, you should see him Ippei in Anaheim. He's like he got a bit when they had opening day. He had a bigger ovation than Ohtani.
That's good. Hey, Sam, awesome having you. Really appreciate the insight, and thanks for joining us, dude.
Anytime, yeah. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam Blum from The Athletic does a great job writing about the Angels, and a lot of good articles on there. So it is time for you and me to hit a little slap hands action so we can get out of here somewhat on time. Let's hit it.
Ball.
You like that new one? You like that new slap hands?
I like that.
Of course, Pierzynski was trolling us. He's like, what is that? World's like smallest team or whatever he said. Well, yeah, there's only 3 of us in the damn building. So we did a little slap hands. I'm like, you're welcome anytime. He's like, oh, I'm not going to Jersey.
Oh, man.
But that was fun today, dude. A lot of good insight from the guys. And I know you're about to bounce, but just for everyone to know, Kratzy's back tomorrow. Marathon man Brock Holt joins us. He ran a damn marathon 2 days ago, so I want to see how he's feeling. Yeah, that would not be me. Corbin Burns joins us tomorrow, and he's got the pec issue, so we'll see how he's doing. Matt Barnes joins us tomorrow. Ken Rosenthal. Also, if you're a Brewers fan, Brew Crew Territory new podcast is out there, part of the Foul Territory brand. We appreciate everyone, and show them what it's all about. This is launch day.
Foul
Let's
Territory.
go.
Hey, somebody tell
T-shirts
Whit
out
Merrifield
there.
to write a book, man. Somebody tell Whit Merrifield to write a book. I'm telling you, that's inspirational right there for a lot of people.
I cannot agree more. I literally had chills when he got the 2 parts in that story. We'll make sure we post it on socials. Jonesy, have a good rest of the week, man.
Will do, brother.
See everyone. See you on Thursday. Big show.